This is Ryan at Cincy Life Community News, my little personal blog. Here I sit, it's 2 a.m. I've been up all day working. I traveled here from California last night, got here about 3 a.m., went to work at about 7, worked all day, came home, took a little bit of a nap, woke up at 11. I don't know what it is. It's either 9 or 11, no matter what. Even if I've been up for 2 days straight, I have to wake up. It's because of this graveyard shift. It's crazy. I don't know how many people realize this, but, working graveyards screws up your whole effing system. It really messes me up. Um, Not that I could have it any other way. I think that I'm stuck on graveyard permanently. This is the way I've been for as long back as I can remember, all the way back into high school and junior high. I had to be up all night. Um, But I've read that it takes like 10 years off your life if you are like that. If you're nocturnal like me, then your average life expectancy is roughly 10 years less. But so tomorrow I'll be up at the ass crack of dawn getting ready for work. I'll work all day and then I'll drive back to California. Right? I mean that's my life though, as far as, activity or social activity or any of that. I don't have any, you know. Working graveyard kills that for me. Um, just being a nocturnal person in general. So I'm up all night, everybody else is sleeping, right? And I typically go to bed at like 6 or 7 a.m., sleep all day, wake up for work, and go back to the same routine. Um, when I sleep, when I'm, working graveyard, I actually lose more hours because I sleep more, just based on the, lack of sunshine and, just my body not working the way normal people's bodies work. So I sleep more, sometimes, or at least I nap. Like I'll go to sleep, I'll sleep for a couple hours, I'll wake up, I'll go back to sleep, sleep for a couple hours, I'll wake up, go to sleep, sleep for a couple hours, wake up, get absolutely nothing done during the day. So while it's, a benefit to me to work graveyard because that's my, instinct to be nocturnal, people may think that, working at home like I do and, possibly having more free time would be this benefit because I'm working at home and I, work at night and I don't have a lot of distractions and such. But I'm losing life expectancy and I lose hours in my day every day. It's a pretty big sacrifice. I understand why, typically when you go and get a job third shift, they pay you a shift differential for working, the late shift. And that's why, it's seriously why you're working your life away in a way because you're losing years by working graveyard. Your health, and everything else changes in weird ways. But I'm not complaining. My life is very blessed. I'm so absolutely happy to be alive. I actually went out to dinner with some colleagues last night. I don't know why. I always bawl when I talk about my family. And I gotta just stop. But, I just had a breakdown. I just felt like, okay, here we are at dinner. I don't know why it felt like this little family thing. And I miss my family. I don't talk to, my siblings and my mom and such. But, yeah, it was, I don't even know where I was going with that. I've just been constantly working, and I think that, you know, my work life, somehow in some ways blends in with my personal life, and work seems like family to me. you know I mean, these people are like, they're good people and they are good friends. A lot of them are just really amazing people. My boss, never been able to really say that about too many of my bosses, that I like them as much as I do. But my boss is cool, and people I work with are cool, and just to sit down and have some dinner last night was really enjoyable. But I got to do this again. I don't know how I'm gonna be up for 3 days straight, and then have to go back to work again. Because as soon as I get home, I'll sleep. You know, I'll catch up on sleep, but then I have to start again Sunday night. So it's crazy. I was meaning to see like Jared Holloway. I got some tie dyes for him, and I was meaning to see my grandma Penny. She's my adopted grandma from when I first came to Washington. I was like a homeless traveler, drifter, whatever, and she kind of adopted me as someone to care about, and um, she let me call her Grandma Penny. And anyway, I've been meaning to see a whole bunch of people, but I mean, what am I supposed to do with my free time at 2 in the morning? I think it's 2 a.m. right now. Yeah, it's 2:08, and here I sit in my hotel room with nobody to visit. I can't be visiting people at 2 a.m. with nothing to do, and I have no choice but to be up. I went and smoked a bowl. I enjoyed some of this Washington freedom or whatever to go out and toke up, and that was cool. I walked around town. Not that I wouldn't if I wasn't, if it wasn't legal. I mean, I do it all the time. I've always done that. In fact, when I was a kid and I went to jail for cannabis, it was because I was in public smoking and I got popped, and it happened multiple times. But it just felt different. I don't know. I mean, I didn't like I-502. There's so much wrong with it. And now it's creeping into medical and, setting standards for other states for their driving limits and things like that. But, I was happy that I was smoking in a free state where it's free or like legal or whatever. Um, but I've been talking with friends and people at work about it. I talked to one of my colleagues about it today, and we talked about the law changing, and he was all in favor of it, and talked about how it's a good thing, but he was disappointed that there was dispensaries that were against it, and I told him I was against it. I put money behind that cause of being against I-502 because of the precedents that it set and the problems that it had with it and the preemption issues. Because cannabis in Washington State is still a Schedule 1, so it really didn't legalize anything. If it's a Schedule 1, cannabis is still illegal, and that's on a state level. I mean, yeah, it's Schedule 1 on the federal level, but it's also federal Schedule 1 on a state level on the State Controlled Substances Act. But I just thought that it would be a different feeling to be here, and it is, and I'm really glad for that. So that's one thing I enjoyed while I've been here. One of the few things I've been able to enjoy. Other than that, I went out to dinner at Anthony's uh, Port and Home, the restaurant. One of the popular restaurants here in Washington, on the coast, and we had this amazing view of the water. It was in Kirkland, and we just had this excellent dinner, this amazing view. We got all these stories we're telling and whatever. I get caught up in that, and I forget to take some pictures. So I've been meaning to take all these pictures for my family and share it with them of Seattle and of this area. So we have something to go back to Maine with. I mean, we have tons of pictures of this area because we lived here for many years, but I don't know. It just seems like new to me. Everything is kind of different and new, and it's based on the marijuana thing. So, for many people, it's such an insignificant thing, but for me, it's like, attitudes are definitely changing. I don't think that Washingtonians knew what they were voting for I-502. I think what they thought they were voting for was actual legalization, like what they got in Colorado. But, I think they got something completely different here in Washington. But the attitude of people saying, hey, I want marijuana legalized. And that's what most of these people think they were voting for. The guy that I'm telling you about at work actually thinks marijuana is really actually legal here. And that's why he voted for it. And so many people felt that way and thought that way about it, about the law. And so that attitude, to me, is refreshing. The law itself, I-502, sucks. Set massively bad precedents. It, taxed it to death. if it ever actually gets into retail. I totally doubt it will. Under I-502. I mean, it would have to be another different initiative to make it legal in Washington. But I-502, you know, did not make it legal. But people wanted it to be. That's the point. That's the attitude. And that was what the vote was about. So that makes me happy. Um, I've talked about libertarian cities that are starting up, all over the world in Honduras and these little seasteading things that they're talking about. And, that sounds interesting to me and cool. I certainly would love to stay in the United States and see it become more free, more land of the free. But I do think the free market changes attitudes, especially, in the market, in business and things like that. And, a lot of the libertarians who are starting that seasteading thing talk about a country being like a business, because America really operates that way, and this cronyism and the crony capitalism that we're in, and the socialism that we're now, wading through, we act more like a business. There's a lot of business influence on our government, and if the United States starts seeing an exodus of people to these libertarian countries, in my opinion, America will fight to get those people back in America by changing policies, reducing regulations and taxes, and becoming more of a free market again like we used to be. So, I don't know, I feel blessed to be at work and have a job. I feel blessed to be here in Washington. I feel blessed to be in the United States, but I also feel blessed just to be human and have, this culture, this, you know, these people, this intellect to be a part of. The common human experience and all these ideas, whether they're liberal or socialist or conservative or libertarian or anything in between or anything above and beyond, or whether it's a religious thing or a spiritual thing. I do feel blessed to have a life and to be alive to experience it. You know, so to all those people who have lost their lives early and didn't get this far, didn't get to see this much, um, my heart goes out to your family, and I hope everybody loves one another and embraces each other and lets each other know, you know, how important each of us are to one another, whether we totally agree or whether we totally disagree. This common human experience depends on one another, and we got to realize we're family. So I hope, if there's people out there considering leaving this life, that they take a step back and look at it closely, analyze their thought process, and maybe in that time somebody will be able to come in and embrace them and tell them that they're loved. And that really helped me last night, being with my crew, at work here, some of my colleagues, and I was just really blessed. So I hope other people are blessed. I wish I could give more and be more of a contributor to the love and the common human experience, but here I am, middle of the night, 2 in the morning, talking to a camera. Thanks for watching. Peace out.